Come on. Hey, we're live. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. For a second there, folks, I thought we had technical difficulties. We do not. This is another Energy Boom 101 video. This is also, I would say, groundbreaking because we have with us OU journalism student. Is that correct?
That's right.
OU journalism student, Matt. Is it Ravis?
Yeah, it's Ravis.
It's Matt Ravis. Matt is from Yukon, Oklahoma. Matt was nice enough to interview me on behalf of a school project. And he focused on my little newsletter called The Boom, which was best demonstrated by that big Caterpillar driving past there. There's a lot of construction going on here, folks. This is one way we're going to measure the boom. And we're going to do a quick little plug, by the way, for the Boom newsletter, which is what Matt and I talked about. But we also have this Energy Boom video show we're doing right now, and I wanted to bring Matt on, and I'm going to talk with him here in a few minutes. We're going to ask him a few questions about his life, and we'll probably also, the format I think we'll use today is we'll discuss whatever's in the newspaper. We always do the most rigorous of due diligence, and we dig deep for the treasures, so we go straight to this newspaper, the Oklahoman. Used to be called the Daily Oklahoman, now the Oklahoman. Matt, I'm going to bring you on here just to introduce you. Now, Matt, you are an OU student in journalism, that's correct?
That's right, online journalism.
Okay, now tell me what year you are.
I am going into my 4th year of school.
Fourth year of school?
Probably have a year and a half left until I graduate.
Okay, came out of Yukon, Oklahoma.
That's right, the Millers.
Okay, the Millers. Now, what got you thinking about being a journalist?
Well, I took business classes for my first year of school, and I realized that I was not going to make it through school if I had to take these classes for the rest of it. And I decided to put my passion to work, which is writing.
Excellent.
So I ended up at journalism. I like telling stories.
Okay, so your passion being writing, are we talking old school, get on the laptop or handwrite on the notebook? Or?
Yeah, anyway, typewriter, pen, paper, Google Docs.
Yeah?
Anything. I'm down for anything.
Now tell me when you first started writing.
Oh, I first started writing whenever I was a young kid. My dad played guitar. He played lots of Bob Dylan and James Taylor songs.
Ah, very nice.
And,
did he ever play Tangled Up in Blue?
Oh, yeah.
There it is.
Oh, yeah, that was one of his favorites.
There it is.
I was listening to that album earlier, actually.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I just really loved the stories that they told through their lyrics, and I tried to emulate them even before I learned how to play guitar.
So would you say that your first style of writing was sort of poetry?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Interesting.
Poetry before prose.
Okay, I'm down. Have you trademarked that phrase yet?
Nope. Not yet.
Folks, we're trademarking it right here with Matt Ravis. Poetry before prose, trademarked by Matt Ravis. If anyone uses that, they owe him money. Anyway, okay, Matt, if you don't mind, I'm going to dig into sort of the today's news on the oil patch.
Sounds good.
This silly little video here. By the way, I think we actually have 18 viewers signed up. And on any given day, we actually have 5 people watch it. And then of those, I think 3 end up being brain dead by 5 minutes into it. So we brought in a resuscitation team. We've hired, so we're creating wealth here at the Energy Boom 101 by actually having to hire people to tend to our audience, which is dying. Not because of you, Matt, by the way. But Matt is on the show today. We're going to go a full 15 minutes. We'll be checking in with him in between different articles. Our methods of investigation are rigorous. We take this glorious special effect, which is impossible to duplicate. It's a magnifying glass. And then we turn it down on this incredible newspaper. And then we look through the energy section. And as amazing as this sounds, I basically just sort of like to read the headlines and try and at least give an overview of what may be happening. Because the whole point of this silly exercise is to track a boom as it arrives here in Norman, Oklahoma. I think there's an energy boom as well as a marijuana boom. Now, this newspaper is not going to cover a whole lot about the marijuana industry, but they actually do, and it's an interesting study because they use headlines that would be, I wouldn't say misleading, I'd never want to say that, but I would say they use a different spin on the headline. Speaking of, we are now going to go straight into this energy section, and we're going to see if we can sort of track what's going on in the boom. So, energy boom. Okay, so what are we looking for? We're looking for energy companies. So, here's a big one right here, folks. Get ready for this. It says Michigan judge drops 2 charges against Chesapeake. Well, we need to sort of figure out what's going on here. Have you ever heard of Chesapeake, Matt?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, tell me sort of what you know about Chesapeake or how you see them in your eye.
Growing up in Oklahoma, I have an immediate disdain almost for energy companies like Chesapeake and Standard. Just kind of a negative reaction, but that's just be bringing my bias into it.
Well, you have every right to. This is the interview now. Tell me what's the problem with them? What don't you like about them?
I feel like they embody what's wrong with really society, capitalism. It's kind of an ill of that, where people take what they want for their own whims.
Okay.
I feel that the executives of these companies would probably drown a bag of puppies to add percentage points to their profits.
Okay, I hear you. Now, do you think that the oil industry is worse than other industries that are in the capital world? Anyone that's on Wall Street?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's lots of evils in the world.
Yep.
That's just one way to make money.
I hear you.
Other ones.
Okay. So with that intro, we're going to give you a little background on Chesapeake. Chesapeake, I'm going to read this opening paragraph, but I'll let you know that Chesapeake, let's just read this thing. A Michigan judge on Wednesday dismissed 2 of the 3 charges against Oklahoma City-based Chesapeake Energy over claims that the company conspired with Canadian Oil Company and Canada to hold down lease prices in the state. Okay, so District Judge Maria Barton dropped both charges that executives conspired against a Michigan landowner. The judge, however, said there's enough evidence to proceed to trial on claims that the companies conspired to rig a bid in an auction for leases from the state. So here's what we know. We know that a judge in Michigan has ruled that there is enough evidence to proceed to trial. I mean, that's the way it looks to me like. I'm pretty sure that's the way I read that. The judge, Maria Barton, said there is enough evidence to proceed to trial on claims. Okay, so it sounds to me like Chesapeake is going to go to trial for 1 of 3 claims. The other 2 were dropped. Interesting to think that this headline wasn't written saying Chesapeake going to trial.
Yeah.
The headline was written saying Michigan judge drops 2 charges against Chesapeake. That, folks, I would offer you as an example of how the narrative works, how the mind works, and how we can sort of provide our own spin on facts.
I agree. That's an excellent tip.
I'm glad that Matt's there to see this, by golly, because this is the glory of not only the story we're attempting to tell here as the trucks rumble in the background. Listen to that. It's the buzz and the bubble of the boom. That's what I call this. And I tried to trademark that, but they wouldn't let me. Rupert Murdoch's onto me. I tried to trademark the phrase, the bubble and the buzz of the boom. But so Matt, actually, it's very interesting that he would be here to sort of bring up some concerns about the energy industries. And in particular, we see that indeed Chesapeake is going to be up on charges, and we'll see what happens. But the more important story to me, in addition to that simple fact, is that the way headlines are written, folks, it's like you can lead people in certain directions. So keep that in mind when you're reading the newspapers, because these are great things. I love them. But everyone has their bias, whether they know it or not, and it seems to work its way into the narrative that unfurls. Would you agree?
No, it's easy to read the big words and skip over the small ones.
Okay, now let me get crazy silly with you, Matt. I'm not so sure I even fully understand what I mean when I say the narrative, other than this. It sort of seems to me like maybe our degree of free will is not complete and wholesale, but on a spectrum, and perhaps over time we gain more. But even as we're gaining more free will, I would feel, it seems to me like we more report our existence, speaking of journalists, than we do author it. And if that's the case, and that's the feel I get, it feels like we sort of are unfurling. There's a narrative that's sort of unfurling within us. And so that's what I always refer to as the narrative. That's how I sort of believe it exists. Do you have any thoughts on free will or narratives?
No, I kind of agree. I'm spiritual in that way.
Yeah?
I guess in regards to the narrative, I think that I don't know. Everyone has their own.
Yeah. All right. We, by the way, check this out. We are about, I think we're 9. Get ready for this, folks. We're going to crash through the 9-minute mark. 9 minutes. We have 6 minutes left. We've only gone through 1 article, by the way. We're here with Matt Ravis, a fine gentleman out of Yukon, Oklahoma. The Yukon Millers, a few other famous people out of there. Garth might have been from there. We can't remember. But we're having a fun time, and this is something that we want to try and do here at Boom U, which is it's not a secret anymore. Boom U is actually the University of Oklahoma, and you're not supposed to know that, but that's the way it goes. It's sort of like the way. Oh yeah. Matter of fact, you can't prove that. Yeah, it's fooling everyone. Well, see, here's what you get. Now there's University of Oklahoma. Now get ready. Oh, there it is. Boom U. Boom. Okay, back to University of Oklahoma. So it really sort of morphs. It's a shapeshifter. The bells. Okay, now Matt, let me educate you on the bells, because if you co-host again, you'll want to know. What you just heard was the bells indicating that it's 15 minutes after the hour, because we only heard, I think, 4 tones. That lets me know that I've got about 5 minutes left in the show. I'm willing to bet that by now we've lost our audience completely, but that's okay. I guarantee you they're going to have fun the next time they watch this. Let's move on to a little more. I'm going to find a little more oil stuff, or if I find marijuana stuff, any kind of green or black gold energy, I'm going to look for it in the paper. In the meantime, Matt, tell me if you have any specific focus on the future, whether it be one day or 10 years from now.
Yeah, so like I said, I like to write stories. I'm a huge basketball nerd. That's one thing that I refuse to compromise on.
All right.
And also I love music as well. So I feel like those are my areas of expertise. That's what I'd like to write about.
So you see yourself, after you graduate, pursuing the profession of writing, whether that be a journalist or, whatever sort of format, but you want to write. And then you would ideally like to cover maybe basketball and music?
Anything but a 9 to 5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm down. By the way, that was a hell of a good song and a good movie. That's a plug for Dolly Parton. 9 to 5 is actually a great song, and Dabney Coleman's in the movie. All right, folks, let's get serious. We've got 11 minutes left, and the lawyers told me that I have to shut this thing down 15 minutes into it. Okay, so check this out. Here's another thing here. This is a nice big overview of the energy boom. I'm going to show you fans out there. Look at this. Oil prices sink. Okay, the price of oil fell for the 9th straight day Wednesday as global supplies continue to flow despite unrest in the world's most important oil-producing region. Now, huge statement there. There's assumptions here, but follow me because we're going to read it again. The price of oil fell for the 9th straight day. Now, it didn't say how much it fell, but it did fall. But what they're telling us is global supplies continue to flow. Oil being a global commodity, it's like one big, huge bowl of soup, and you sort of got to get it around the different continents. Global supplies continue to flow despite unrest in the world's most important oil-producing region. 5-10 years ago, if this kind of quote-unquote unrest in the world's most important oil-producing region were going on, we'd have serious price spikes. We don't have those price spikes. The inference is that it's because North America, where we're sitting right now, and this lovely university, folks, is incredibly plugged into the whole game. Trust me on this. And it's not a bad or a good game, it's a game. And that's what we talk about here.
It's one of them.
It's one of them, baby. Because the United States is producing so much oil, a staggering advance over the last 3 or 4 years, actually, that people wouldn't believe the percentage increase, that is bringing to market and supporting prices so they're not, just exploding based on everyone being afraid, oh, we won't be able to get our oil, so let's grab it now and pull it here. Well, we've already got our oil, basically. That's just one part of the story. But that's one thing you can sort of infer. We talk about this show being about an oil boom. I think the oil boom is here. My question is, how long does it last? I think an energy boom is here. I think a marijuana boom is here. A green boom is here. The question is, how long does it last? And that's probably something that the show will focus on as it unfurls. But to me, this little indicator telling us right there, kids, and it's even in green, which is really pretty cool, that despite unrest in the most important oil-producing regions around the world, that prices are basically stable, will let you know just how much oil is being produced in the United States right now, primarily out of the Eagle Ford, the Permian, both in Texas, and then the Bakken in North Dakota. There's a lot of talk about how long will that last. Who knows? The best reports you can find online that most people would agree are legitimate say that it's as long as prices don't just collapse, they should be able to produce strong oil out of the Bakken for 10 years. And probably the same for every other play in the United States. So my thought is, with absolutely no credentials whatsoever to say this, and close to being 1 minute, having to shut this down in 1 minute, and I feel like we just got started. Nonetheless, the point is that there's a significant energy boom occurring right now, and we're going to do our best to track it here at Energy Boom 101, and we're going to do our best to tell the story. And if we have to do 5 dispatches a day, maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll just call this Dispatch 1, and if you can hang around for another 15, we might do another one. We'll see what Matt's agents say. The truth is, we're getting ready to wrap this up. Those 15 minutes go by quick.
It sure does.
Matt Ravis, I want to thank you for this, what I hope is part 1.
Oh,
And
it is.
okay, it's part 1, and Matt Ravis has agreed to come back in literally 10 seconds. So, folks, we will be back. See, his agents have cleared this deal, and we're cutting him big dollars here. 3, 2, 1, boom.